doesn't matter. What matters most is, did God make it happen? God had the power to avoid the conception. Had you not be alive today? So, by the fact that we get children being born now at the end, it's a source of hope that they're still alive. So, chapter 2 is all about telling you that you are unique, you are made, equipped in a unique way, and God, what he has given you, might not give to other people. So you need to take possession of that, use it for your own purpose, and serve the people, and serve your God.
Now, Alex, what I'm getting with chapter 2 is that you're created, you have a purpose. You have to, it's like you're a raw material, you have to undergo all these stages, then the end product of it all is laid there. I don't know what's your interpretation of this chapter 2?
My interpretation of chapter 2 is, every other time, when you sit down or you're in the market, wherever you'll be, there's always that knack, that attraction that you've always had. There is something that you always want to achieve. And I would say that some people try to run away from what keeps on knocking and knocking on their hearts at different times. And I would say that is the seed that God planted in you. And in as much as you try to run away, you are a masterpiece, and he brought you for that particular thing, so that you may run the whole world, just like Jonah. He wanted to go away, but he was brought back to where he was supposed to be. So I would say, in the masterpiece that God made you, he has a purpose for you. So whatever it is that keeps on knocking on your heart, and each and every individual has something that keeps on knocking and kind of scratching them to get on their feet and do it. So you may not be at a predisposition to do it, but whatever you do, it revolves around it. That is what God made you to be. So before you do anything or before you run away, always remember to satisfy that one thing that you feel strongly about.
So chapter 3 is now, are you trying to put across the message that now, what is your destiny? Because you're just saying, your definite purpose. Is it your destiny now? You're a raw material, you're polished, you're there now. Is it now your destiny that you're facing now?
Okay, maybe Brian, there's one thing that we do speak about, this word purpose. The same way we talk about passion. Purpose is not something that you can get hold of and then say, this is the destination. The same with the destiny. The more you get, the more you want. The more I achieve academically, the more I want to go ahead. The same with life. That's how we were created. It's even in the Bible. And you see that this purpose can only be realized, will only be appreciated by those people who will come after you. Because a purpose outlives you. When you die, what people remember, beyond the physical things they can see, that's your purpose. You lived your purpose. When you talk of the saints, when we talk of these great men and women in our history, we are remembering their purpose. And this purpose is something positive. Our dreams, for example, just make part of that purpose. Fulfilling your dreams doesn't mean, or sometimes doesn't even correlate with your purpose. Sometimes you can meet your dreams which deny you your purpose. Maybe that is confusing. But what I mean is this. Sometimes, as my friend Alex said, we run away from the purpose. We go and get what we feel we want, but not what was made for us. And it has happened. We have seen it happening in our life. So the most important thing in that chapter is about you appreciating this purpose, living the purpose, and then you live the purpose when you die. So this purpose is what God equipped you with. He has given you exactly what you need. Now, the question comes, should you be comfortable that I already have my purpose, so I just wait and live my life? No. You have a role to play. That's why even Jesus in the Bible, he didn't perform any miracle out of nothing. That's why he required the 5 fish and the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. Why? So that he can feed the people from that. So the same thing to us. We have the purpose, but we have to actualize it. We have to activate it. If God writes you a check with your name, Samuel Kanja, then you don't cash it, after 6 months, it will be stale. Some people die when they are already stale because they didn't actualize their purpose. So that is the role that we are living. We are given 40 years, 50 years, 60, others 10, others 5, just to try to live that purpose. It's not as simple as maybe I'm saying it, but it is composed of so many things. Yeah.
Now, Alex, a lot of people usually live life, but they don't see the essence as to why I should celebrate this particular life. They usually feel like it's a burden and it's better just terminate it. But when we look at chapter 4, celebrating your life with gratitude, the essence of it. But before we get in depth into chapter 4, let us take a short break. Remember, guys, if you're tuning in for the first time, we are looking at the book Fashion for Life by Sami Kanja himself. We're taking a short break, and when we come back, you better arm yourself for the next chapter, that is chapter 4. Stay put.
Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Hey, there's another big thing. Agwana, oh my God, nana, I say, oh my doro doro. Ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Jamaica kalende ase Yesu na komoboli gake kuditita ingina kole for me to see obogi maboli wakale na kale Yesu akamotebi, why you calling me kuditita? Kwanine, only one peke mmoja tu, only one peke Mungu Baba, nerende tokoroka kuditija, fuata zake amri kumi, obogi mawakale na kale wone. Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Kutoka kwangu ujana, hey, amri zote zake nimefuata, nigane tena, nigane sijatenda. Yesu akamwambia, do you wanna be perfect? Genda nende paka mwao, mali yote uliyo nayo usa yote, na masikini hela uwagawe, kisha uje jamaa unifuate. Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Mzigo sana, mzigo kwake, mzigo sana, mzigo kwake, aliyonenewa na Yesu, aliyonenewa na Yesu, aliyonenewa na Yesu, aliyonenewa na Yesu. Hakuna ni bora jikati, hakuna ni bora jikati, hakuna ni bora jikati, hakuna ni bora jikati. Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwaraganje vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity, kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Faida gani? Faida gani? Faida gani? Faida gani? Upate yote ya dunia, upate yote ya dunia, lakini yako nafsi upoteze. Ngwaraganje zitakupoteza. Ngwaraganje vanity, yote ya dunia vanity. Kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwara gande vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity. Kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwara gande vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity. Kwa nini mkose Yesu juu ya vanity? Ngwara gande vanity, magari manene manene vanity, yote ya dunia vanity.
Hello and welcome back to Between the Lines with me, your host, Brian Ogana. Remember, if you're just tuning in for the very first time, the book of the day is Fashioned for Life by Kanja himself. It is an amazing book and you definitely need to get your copy. It has a lot of encouraging messages in it. It motivates you. It lifts your spirit on a high level. And if you're wondering where you can get your copy, the numbers will be running in front on your screen. And also remember, our Facebook page is super active. That is Between the Lines /GBS in capital. You can send in your comment and you can also ask questions concerning the book that is Fashion for Life. We are just warming up. Now let us look at chapter 4. Alex, before we went for that break, what is the essence of it? Celebrating your life with gratitude. What do you think is the essence of it?
Yeah, I read or I overheard somewhere that life is in session. And at the same time that this life you're living, it's not that you've taken a detour. We are actually on the fast lane. So that those people who sit back and complain about life, they have nothing to celebrate life about. The little things, the sun rising in the morning. There's a time I was seated in some place back at home, and for once I was able to sit back and watch the sun rising, and it was a beautiful scenery. And most parts of Kenya, there is always that beautiful sun rising and beautiful sun setting.
Yes.
So there is so much about life to be enjoyed about. And somebody who is just sitting back at home, not knowing what to do, maybe your health is not okay, or you have no job or something, there could be something you could do that would make you happy. You would visit a children's home where you would meet kids who are bubbly and they're happy about life. So life is in session, and it's not that you've taken a detour. We are on the fast lane. Yeah.
Now, I know time will not be on our side, but what is the one chapter you'd like someone to really focus on according to the book? I know you're getting 16 chapters, but what is that one chapter you think has a lot of message that will be portrayed out there for the reader to concentrate in it?
Okay, there's this chapter that talks about attitudes. Defined attitude is the formula of life.
Yes.
And I think, to me, attitude is everything. Attitude towards God, attitude towards yourself, and towards people, and also circumstances. There's no circumstance, there's no situation that can overcome you if your attitude is positive.
Yeah.
We talk of positive thinking, but sometimes these attitudes can really drive you crazy. You need to know, why do things happen? How do you relate with other people? If you have a negative attitude, especially towards yourself, you might never appreciate yourself. You might not even celebrate that life. You'll keep complaining. When we remember, there are so many people behind you aiming to be like you. And looking at the people who are ahead of you, you might get discouraged. But when you look back, you see a crowd following you. So it's about attitude. It's about perspective. It's about how you look at things, the eye that you use. And maybe one thing I would like to tell people about is we were created in God's image.
Yes.
But most of the time, we use our bodies and not the image of God. If you use the eye in the image of God, we will start seeing life as it should be. Not as a mystery, because to God, life is not a mystery.
Yes.
To me, as a human being, life is a mystery. That's why I don't even know something about the next 1 minute. But if I use the image of God and factor God in, whatever I think or whatever I do, life will be good.
Now, Alex, which particular chapter you went through it and you're like, wait a minute, there is something in this chapter. Which chapter knocked your socks off?
It is the chapter about take an audit of your life. And they say life without reflection is like living a dead life. There's no way you can be living today and you don't give thought to what happened yesterday, because the mistakes you did yesterday ought to make you do better today. But if you don't take an audit of how it went down yesterday, then it will be very hard for you to live today and the days to come. So taking an audit of your life every other day, examination of conscience, at the end of the day, just sit back, take a moment of silence, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, think about your day, think about God's goodness during that day, and thank Him for what it has been to you, and pray that tomorrow would be a better day. So taking an audit of your life is paramount.
Now, Sammy, let us look at your last chapter, God's favor. Let us look at it. I can see it has a lot of, it has an in-depth in it. And most of people really can't tell, but it has weight in it.
Can I surprise you? The book was supposed to be 15 chapters. That one I wrote for 1 year without thinking of any other chapter. Do you know, 2 months before the book was published, I thought this book is not complete without that chapter.
Wow.
That is the surprise. I added it with a purpose because I believe we might talk of anything else. That's why it is the last. All those things may count, but God's favor sometimes comes even to those people who have not lived the way I have tried to advise.
Yes, yes.
You might not actually do something, as that chapter says, nothing begets nothing.
Yep.
You might do nothing, but through the graces and the favors of God, the blessings come to you. So it's about God doesn't look at us the way people look at us.
Yes.
He looks at the heart.
Yeah.
Even the heart might be dirty, but He will bless you. He did that to so many people in the Bible. Look at David.